These problems have to do with the number 0 and how it works in fractions. You know, 0 is kind of a weird number. It actually hasn't been around that long as far as numbers go. The ancient Babylonians and the Mayans invented 0, but you know, it didn't really catch on in the rest of the world for a long time. The ancient Romans didn't start using it until the Roman Empire was almost gone. So 0 is strange. It's a number, and yet it represents no value whatsoever. And so we get in trouble sometimes when we do things like try to divide by 0. Dividing by 0, like you see in this problem here, -5 divided by 0, it just doesn't make sense. There's no way to divide something into 0 parts. So when we see a division by 0, we call the answer undefined. So we've just got a special word for this. There's no number this can evaluate to. Anything divided by 0 is going to be undefined. Another situation you might have is where you have 0 on top of the fraction and a number on the bottom. 7 minus 7 is 0, so we have 0 over -4. Well, that's okay. 0 can be divided into, well, we could think of this as 4 parts, or maybe a -0 divided into 4 parts. You can divide nothing as many times as you want, and it's still going to be nothing. So if 0 is on the top of the fraction, then your answer is always going to be 0. There's one other situation that can pop up. Let's crunch the numbers on this one and see what we get. We've got a -1 plus 4. That would be a -3. Sorry, that would be a +3, and then plus a -3. So the top would be 0. Okay, so maybe this thing's going to be 0. On the bottom, we've got 4 minus 8. That would be a -4, plus another 4 would be 0. So we've got 0 over 0. Well, it never makes sense to divide something by 0, so you might think this is undefined, but a 0 divided by 0, it looks like it should also equal 1, right? Because anything over itself should be 1. Well, mathematicians have a special word for this situation when you have 0 over 0, because it still doesn't really make sense. We call this one indeterminate. So the 3 things you have to remember. If you have 0 on the bottom and a number on the top, it's undefined. If you have 0 on the top and a number on the bottom, it's just 0. If you have 0 on the bottom and the top, it's indeterminate. So that's a little bit of work with fractions and the number 0.